Now, one of my all-time favorite rounds is the 45-70. This heavy, hard-hitting cartridge feels like you're launching shoulder-fired artillery. It's awesome, right? This round makes an awesome choice for hunting anything on four legs across all of North America. I mean, the biggest, gnarliest bears or the angriest wild boars. In either case, you're going to drop these with a single shot, provided you have good round placement. Yes, the same can be said for 308 and whatnot. But if you're stalk hunting a prey and you're on foot, having a flat shooting high velocity cartridge can be a liability. I mean, if you miss a round a little bit high, it can go sailing off into the next county into some poor folk's house. Whereas a round like the 45-70, with its very exaggerated ballistic arc, is going to hit the dirt basically harmlessly at about 600 yards. Now, the only problem with the 45-70, it's not very well suited to use in semi-automatic firearms. The cartridge length is just way, way too big. The action would have to be stupidly exaggerated, right? It would work fine in like a lever action, it would work fine in a bolt action, but in something that's going to be repeating, that just makes the bolt travel distance a little too long to be feasible and feed from anything that resembles a standard size magazine. So when I found out that one of my favorite AR makers, CMMG, was releasing a semi-automatic 458 SOCOM, I had to give it a try. Now I know what you're thinking, so what, right? AR-15s have been coming out in big bore calibers like 458 or 450 Bushmaster or 50 Beowulf for years now, right? So what's the big deal with CMMG's addition to this market? Well, for starters, they don't make an AR-15 and 458 SOCOM, they make an AR-10, and it's called the Anvil. And like any other AR-10, it's direct impingement, which makes for a very, very accurate system. So if you're wondering, all right, so CMMG is making a big bore AR and you like the 45-70, these are similar, but they're certainly not related. Well, they are because the 458 SOCOM round can basically replicate the factory loads of a 45-70 with a reduced case length and the capability to feed from a standard or STANAG AR-15 magazine. So you don't have to buy expensive proprietary magazines, you can use mags you already have in stock. Now, CMMG actually modifies the included magazine with their rifle to feed a little more reliably and to be a little easier to load. I mean, the feed lips are slightly bent outward, but I mean, this is something you could do in your garage with pliers or truthfully with your bare hands. Now, this doesn't apply to Magpul's magazines because they're purely polymer. If you wanted to adjust the feed lips with those, you take a Dremel and go very slowly. And I think CMMG realizes this, which is why their Anvil ships with a Lancer L5 AWN magazine. And this is an excellent choice. I mean, the L5 AWN is my magazine of choice for competition, and not just me. A lot of much more capable shooters than myself swear by these magazines. They're kind of like the Bulgarian Circle 10 magazine of the AR-15 world, in that they use high-impact, durable polymer with steel reinforcements. Other features on the rifle include Magpul Mo pistol grip and adjustable M4 style stock. The handguard is their own proprietary full-length aluminum handguard, which is free-floated, and a Picatinny rail across the top for a monolithic design. But I feel like describing this rifle in terms of what it has, what its capabilities are, it doesn't fully explain the entire package. I mean, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, especially in this case. So you say, oh, it's a big bore AR, I've shot ARs, it can't be that different. Man, it is awesome. That 458 SOCOM round hits like a freight train, or more aptly, like a sledgehammer thrown from space. It's ridiculous. When I was hitting my swinging MGM targets with a 308, it kind of just lazily rocks back and forth. It's been struck. You can still see it got hit, that's not a problem. You shoot it with a 458 SOCOM, and it looks like someone went up to it with a sledgehammer and took a running start and just drilled it. And it's ridiculous. Now, unlike an actual anvil, this anvil was not bending the steel to its will. It's not destroying my targets, thankfully. And one of the things that I found when doing research on the rifle before getting my hands on it is I couldn't believe the amount of manufacturers producing ammunition for it. If you're like me, you probably assume that a rarer or less common cartridge like the 458 SOCOM was only made by a handful of manufacturers in small batches at $4 or $5 a bullet. Well, that's not true at all. The variety of ammunition available was so vast. They had grainages available ranging from like 120 grain polycore up to a 500 grain subsonic flat nose, soft nose point, right? Think about that for a second. A 500 grain projectile. That's nuts. That's almost like firing 10 standard 55 grain 223 rounds at the same time. It's pretty damn impressive. Now in testing, I had like zero reliability issues. The only malfunction I encountered in the 300, 350 rounds that I put through the rifle was because of a bone dry chamber. I mean, I literally just forgot to lubricate it for the first round, but I feel like I would be remiss if I didn't tell you guys about that. I mean, it's a DI rifle, run it wet, then it runs a lot better. I used a half tablespoon of my favorite gun lubrication, which I'll share with you in a later video, and it was good to go for the duration of the test. Accuracy was phenomenal. It is a DI rifle. I was getting around 1.6 MOA at the very, very peak, and I'm not convinced that the higher end of that wasn't from me flinching from running the polycore, which, by the way, the polycore ammunition kicks like a 22 compared to the 300 grain or 400 grain varieties. It does nothing to it. It's awesome. That said, so should you buy the CMMG Anvil? It really depends on what you need. If you're gonna be the kind of guy who takes it to the range just to simply plink with, there are probably better systems out there for you to hone your shooting skills with, especially if you're a new shooter. It's not to say it's not a great rifle. It is, and buying magazines for it's very cheap, and that's good as well, but the rounds are pretty damn expensive. They range from about $1 each to about $4 each, depending on which ammunition manufacturer you get them from. The majority hover around the $60, $70. Obviously, reload your own brass. That'll save you a ton of money, but I digress. I think this rifle really excels as like a bush rifle or a stalking rifle. If you want to be able to shoot whitetail through heavy, dense brush and not be concerned that it passing through small branches or tough weeds are going to affect its trajectory and its flight path, this round is perfect. If you live in Alaska and there's a very real threat of being attacked by like a large bear, this will knock that thing on its ass in no time. It's phenomenal. All right, guys, well, I had a ton of fun playing with this rifle. And if you have any comments, questions, concerns, give me a shout out. I hope you enjoyed watching me punish myself shooting the thing with the 400 grain, the hard hitting rounds. Thanks again. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.